Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week webisode of Fishwick and Associates. This week, we're actually talking about our federal and criminal cases and our local criminal cases. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our lead attorney and owner, John Fishwick. John?
Thank you, Zach, our host with the most. I see young Daniel, Judge Daniel's here today. We're going to talk about criminal law today. You know, we've talked previously about civil rights cases and personal injury cases. In those cases, you know, we have to prove everything in those cases. We're the plaintiff usually in those cases. In a criminal defense case, you know, we defend people who've been charged with serious matters, but it's a completely different way of handling a case. The prosecution has to prove their case, and so we're looking for find ways that they don't prove their case. Zach has a long history with law enforcement and knows what it's all about in proving cases. I've been the U.S. attorney, so I understand what it's all about proving cases. So we look for kind of chinks in the armor so that they can't win their case. And so all the work we do in those other cases and the work we've had prosecuting cases really helps us because we know what it takes to prosecute a case. And so we've recently been involved in a number of federal criminal cases, defending those, and also several state cases. And in those cases, they're usually very serious matters that our clients have been charged with. We take that work very seriously, but we're looking for ways to punch holes into the government's case. And we do our own investigation. In other words, we understand what they've been accused of, but we kind of from top to bottom, or soup to nuts, as you say, Zach, we totally investigate the case. So, Zach, you help us a lot with some of those factual investigations and with witnesses, and with your experience as law enforcement. Tell our viewers a little bit about what that work is involved in a criminal case, what sort of things we do when we're investigating the case, you know, for ourselves and for our client.
Absolutely. And like you said, we do have the advantage because I was both in local law enforcement, then federal law enforcement, and then working with you. So what I do is I parallel the investigation that the other side is doing. I speak to our client. I get as much information as I can obtain from them. And then from that information, I sit down, I talk with you guys, we formulate a strategy. And from there, we single out individuals, persons of interest, and witnesses. And then from that order, I go ahead and I reach out to them and I speak with them. Now, sometimes we come to, not sometimes, pretty much every time, we come to documents. And a lot of our cases are really heavy in documents, and the devil's in the details. Some of those documents we can only obtain through FOIA, which for those who don't know is the Freedom of Information Act. We go ahead and we submit for that, and then through that we get the police reports that the other side has, usually CAD calls, 911 calls, and from there, those documents, they usually produce a whole host of other people that I need to reach out to and speak with, and then the cycle repeats itself from there.
All right. Well, that's very important work, and that sort of factual work makes a huge difference in our case. We kind of build it from the bottom up. Now, Daniel, we get you involved in a lot of research issues when we're looking to file motions in limine. That's another one of those lawyer words you like to use. And also we kind of from the ground up, we look at all of what the law is in a case, and we look to keep certain evidence out of case if we think it's going to be, not supposed to come in, and it's going to really prejudice our clients and prejudice the case. Tell us some of the work that you look for there.
Right. So I think one way to think of any kind of criminal case is that it's like a war, and while the big final battle of the trial is important, there are lots of smaller battles along the way in the lead up that can have a real impact on things. And as you mentioned, pretrial motions, particularly motions in limine, are an important one. And as you mentioned, that's it's another Latin phrase there, which you've mentioned numerous times now that I love Latin. And the translation for that phrase is on the threshold or at the start. And that's a pretty apt description because motions in limine are all about evidentiary rulings before the evidence is introduced at trial. So we'll often file motions in limine to prevent the prosecution from introducing evidence that we think is going to be unfairly prejudicial to our client. That's not really relevant. It's just going to kind of make the jury turn against them for reasons that have nothing to do with the charges that's been alleged against him. And similar to motions in limine are what are called motions to suppress, which are also used to exclude evidence that's been, but those are for evidence that's been obtained illegally, for example, in violation of someone's constitutional rights. And so those are important, not only for our client's sake, but for preserving the freedoms of our Constitution, because if the evidence was admissible, then the Fourth Amendment would really just mean nothing much at all.
All right. Yeah, that's important work, and a big part of our practice is filing those motions and really arguing those to judges, and hopefully having success to knock some of the claims against our clients out. Zach, another thing that we do that you help us with a lot is oftentimes in cases, maybe the person who's accusing the person we're representing of doing something wrong or breaking the law. We look at the social media. We look at our client's phone, other folks, text and stuff. What sort of things do we look at, and how do we accumulate that evidence?
Absolutely. Well, I'll just use one of the examples since that's actually enough of a topic for an entire webisode. But you said social media. So we look at social media, but one of the big things that everybody has and everybody uses more than their own computers is their cell phone. So we have access to a Celebrite machine. And what a Celebrite does is it, for a lack of better terms, and what we say is it downloads everything from the phone, everything that's current and deleted, and then we're able to put that into a report format and go through the entire client or whoever's phone that we need to look at, and it has produced absolute nuggets of information that were gold in cases.
Yeah, that's a great help to us. And so, these are very challenging cases. I say to folks who come to see us, you don't pick the time in your life when you face the challenge of your life. And also, often a criminal case is the challenge of someone's life. And they're not necessarily prepared for it. But when it happens, you have to take it very, very seriously. And we take those cases, like all of our cases, very, very seriously. And so we, from kind of top to bottom, we look at every piece of evidence in the case, every legal position that we should take that would be in our client's best interest. So it's important work. It's work that we're proud of. It's enforcing the Constitution to make sure everyone gets a fair trial and constitutional rights are enforced, and the right to a jury trial is enforced. So we're proud of that work, and we'll continue to do that. We've got a number of those cases that we're working on right now. So this has been, I think, informative for folks. We've been talking about a lot of civil cases. You guys, we've even talked about scooters recently. So this is a very serious topic, criminal cases, obviously, but work we're very proud of. And so it was great to talk to everybody about that today. Zach, do you want to, as per usual, sign us off today?
Absolutely. And again, I think I speak for John and all of us here at Fishwick and Associates. We invite you to become engaged with us. Please, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call us. We'd be glad to speak with you. Stay tuned. Next week, we'll have another webisode. Until then, you guys be safe, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.